Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I am Evil Mike. This is going to be my part 2 on the reviews of the comics that came out on July 7, 2021. I got another 5 comics for you, and it looks like I got another 2 videos coming, because after this I got another 10 books to read. So I was able to read this, and I took my own advice, and I read them out of the pickup order. So I got like 3 DC, a Marvel, I took a suggestion, and a Dark Horse. First up, we got Justice League number 64, the introduction of the United, and it's actually the United Order is their group name. That is them right there. They are not villains. They are. It is like a Justice League that is kind of out in space. So. This story is kind of like a side story that's kind of like been evolving around what's going on during the events of Justice League, and it's setting up this new big bad guy, and it's basically like it's like an SOS message going out to the Justice League of Earth, like, hey, we tried to stop this big bad guy that's on its way, you know. Superman supposedly has dealt with this guy before, and they had him in prison. They're taking him to trial, like right here, the scene that I showed you, and it has some cool people on the United. We got I always forget how it's a Thingarian. We got a Dominator. We got a looks like a Corbidian. We got a see, I'm really bad at a Thamanian. We got a Daxamite. I don't know. You know, you see a Hawk Guy persona. You see like a Stargirl persona, the Hawk Guy persona. You see a Dominator over here, the alien-looking guy with the bloodshot, you know, red. But they're awaiting trial. They're about to, you know, give out trial. And they go look for him in his cell, and he has escaped. So basically they're sending out the SOS, like, hey, Justice League. At the same time, we have this story going on with Oliver Queen and Black Canary. They're just on like a friendly date, and they are being like followed by somebody, and they show him here with the sniper scope. We do find out who he is. At the same time, back at the Hall of Justice, we have, you know, Aquaman. They're trying to train Naomi because she's getting stronger and stronger. She wants to train. At the same time, we do get a little cameo of the Wonder Twins, which they never show up, but they're there in the background with the Justice League. But they're kind of showing her parents around. That part's just like a fun little interlude. Basically, while the parents of Naomi are getting like this little fun tour of the Justice League from the Wonder Twins and some of the other members, that's when they get the SOS. At the same time, you know, Oliver Queen and Black Canary are trying to figure out who this sniper guy is or whatever, or why he's following them. We find out that he's from Checkmate, and that, of course, is going to tie into the Checkmate ongoing series they have going, which I did not pick up the first issue of. The other side is just, I mean, right at the end, we just get to see this new big bad guy, and Superman, you know, he basically tells everybody to evacuate, that they don't heed his warning, and they're like, what do you mean? And he's like, this guy's coming, I need to go, and they're like, what? And it's like in a matter of one panel, and by the end of it, you know, sorry, I flipped too bad, but Superman's basically like, yep, it's too late. You know, I told y'all to run like a couple seconds ago, and that now it's, you know, he's here. We're all going to have to battle him, and we're going to need every heavy hitter in the Justice League. We had the backup story from Justice League Dark. It starts right here. It's done by Ram V. For you people that know Ram V, it was very good. This is set in Gotham. It is continuing the same Justice League Dark story that has been going on. But this takes place, you know, right where the last one left off with this new character, and she is they're calling her the Eternal Knight. And she is like one of the knights from Arthur's Round Table. I think she is the 13th knight of Arthur's Court. She runs into Batman, you know, they have this little talking. she's really intrigued by Batman, his armor and everything. She loves, she understands that they are similar in form and fashion because he looks like a knight. He has an armor and has weapons. But instantly, he states, "Hey, you're in my way of my investigation." She kind of states the same thing, and they part ways. We do get some Ragman and Zatanna conversation, and Zatanna still not trusting Ragman because, of course, his suit just wants some souls. And then we have some good old Batman falling into a trap by following some clues, and I don't know exactly what's in this room, but we do come across something, and for some people it might be, y'all might know who it is, but he says his name is Randhir Sahing, and he's trapped in his own body, but he's the one that's affecting Batman in that scene. So I'm hoping we're going to find out who this guy is, why they have him, pinned up and everything. But hey, Justice League number 64. Overall, it was really good. The art was amazing. I mean, DC is still killing it. They are not slowing down. Next up, we have Batman: The Adventures Continue Season 2, Issue 2, and this is following up the Court of Owls storyline. Sadly, this scene does not happen, or this one, Zatanna is not really in it. Nightwing is. I mean, he's right here, but it's still like Batman following up. This is his first introduction with the Court of Owls in the Adventures storyline, and we got Boston Brand, the dead man, and they're still hanging out. And he at one point takes over Alfred and kind of has a little joke and stuff. He loves Nightwing. He's a big Nightwing fan, so he just wanted to say hi. So he takes over Alfred's body. We are following Batman on his investigation on who the Court of Owls is. He is very intrigued by the zombie nature of the Talons. We do see them following up after the death of Mayor Hill. Spoiler warning. Too late now. Ha ha! But if you watch my channel, I don't give a shit about spoilers. I'm not spoiling too much because you'll see why. But basically, we're following up on the Talons. We do get, Deadman's following up his leads, and he kind of gets there a little bit before Batman does. And but Batman's right behind him. I mean, he's a ghost, so he can go through walls. But we do get a couple different action encounters between the secret, Court of Owls member and who is controlling the Talons. I'm not going to reveal who the mastermind is. That would be a spoiler for this issue. I will say it wasn't like unpredictable but it was kind of neat just to see this version of it. I do like the member of the court because we do get the reveal and everything. But basically, we get a lot more of the setup of Batman actually fighting the Talons, being a little more smarter than the Court of Owls, like implying ice because they're zombies, stuff like that. I can show you that right here. Like he's using a Mr. Freeze ray gun against them because they're zombies and they can't really be cut or killed, but they can be frozen. Ha ha! But it's basically just setting up, more of the detective part of the adventure and following the Court of Owls. Next up we have Batman Second Son 4 of 4, and yes sir, it was a good comic. Again, this is a digital first comic, and just like here on the cover, it is a very nice cover, but there's something about it where I can tell it's been digitally drawn and not drawn by pencil and hand. You can really tell by the pages here that it was done on like there's nothing wrong with that. But for some reason, I can tell that it wasn't a comic first versus, you could tell it was a digital comic first and not an official comic. But basically, we're still following events of Jace and how he becomes the next Batman. This is basically the origin of how he literally, this is like his year one. We even have an homage scene where he's on a motorcycle in his little fake Batman get-up suit, But he's still basically tracking down these people that work for Arcade or something like that, Arcadine, and he's doing his year one thing, tracking them down, trying to figure out stuff. He's trying to make amends for a death that he was a part of. After his father a long time ago had it covered up, and that's why he kind of disappeared. his brother Luke, you know, I mean, the whole forerun of this has just not been a Jace fan ever since he comes back. I don't get it because, you know, we know Luke is Batwing and he's supposed to have these honor and integrity, you know, especially within the Bat family. And he just treats Jace like shit, man. He's like, man, he's a drug head. He's always at clubs and beating women. And Jace hasn't shown any of these qualities, any of the comics, because I have every issue that Jace has appeared in. So I don't get where the writers keep writing this in there. You know, maybe there's a whole lot of the script they're not telling us yet. But eventually during his year one outings, you know, he's eventually saved by Katana. Katana shows up and we are informed that she was the one who specifically trained Jace on a lot of his hand-to-hand combats, and they have had a previous altercation, you know, with each other. There is a lot of action with Katana and this little group that he was trying to infiltrate. He does get what he was getting, you know, what he was after. We do see Simon Saint in the background, and he's trying to encroach on Lucius Fox and Bruce's millions. You know, this is Luke being a douche towards Jace, right? He's just like, yeah, Jace is a drug addict and a pimp and I mean, Jace never shows it. Jace is over here. He's over here doing detective work and they've shown him like donating his time to the public. I don't know. Okay, so we got Simon Saint, and Simon Saint's trying to butter up to. He's basically trying to get Lucius to fund the Peacekeeper program. It doesn't continue on in that. We are seeing like Luke having this like split-second decisions about him and the Batwing suit. At the same time, it looks like, you know, the other two sisters of Jace and Luke are kind of, you know, training up. We did see some of her in Future State, so we kind of already know that that's going to be his Robin, the new Batman's. Which I thought was great. His own sister is going to be his Robin, kind of like his Robin, one of his Robins, I don't know. But at the very end of this, we do get to see Jace finally uncovering one of the many hidden like bat caves that Bruce had that was in Wayne Towers. And we do see how he gets his first suit and why it's the suit that he does get, the more armored up suit. And it was just one of the suits that Bruce had left behind, and I mean, as you can see here, it is one of the more armored up suits. So it was nice to see where, you know, his little bat cave, where it came from, all that, you know. It does set off with a continuing in I Am Batman #0. I have not heard of that. I'm not aware that it's coming, so I guess we need to be on the lookout for I Am Batman if you are interested in the next Batman and his continuing story. Which I have enjoyed all the next Batman. Even though it was like a digital first, it was still a great comic, man. That was probably like one of the best reads so far this week. Alright, I took a suggestion, and for Mr. Cinnamon or Johnny English, or he has so many names. But so we're doing Avengers #46, and this is World War She-Hulk Part 1. And for some reason, I have that World War. This was a great issue, man. I love this. I'm glad I was able to get on board with this. And it's just basically showing up some future images here, and they have and I think her name is Jennifer. But I love that. And this is a writer, and you know. We got Jason Aaron and Javier Guerrero. And we do have a little like summary, and I have no idea what's going on. It's something about Phil Coulson, Phil Coulson and Mephisto and breaking the world, and they fixed it. I don't know. But we got Gorilla, and I don't know who Gorilla Man is, but we got Iron Man, and he's doing some technical stuff in Avengers Mountain, because I guess they're in Avengers Mountain right now. Remember, I'm 10 years behind on all Marvel. So that's why I don't know who Gorilla Man is, but basically we find out Gorilla Man is a traitor right off the bat. He has brought the, I forget their name, it's the Winter Guard, you know, the Russians' version of kind of like the Avengers or whatever. He has snuck them into Avengers Tower and disabled everything, and they're here to collect, is it Jennifer Walters? Jennifer Walters. I love She-Hulk, so don't look at me crazy. I'm bad with names. But we do see, she's over here trying to control this new, like, savage, mega savage She-Hulk. I don't know what they're calling her, but maybe it's just World War She-Hulk, because she supposedly this is new. She's out of control. She's a lot bigger. Her powers are a lot more intense. But the Winter Guard just bust in and try and, capture and stuff. And right off the bat, Dynamo, Crimson Dynamo, I mean, with his suit, he has her captured and everything and starts taking off. They're already blasting the hell out of here. I don't know who the hell this is, if he's got a name, but I'm gonna go with Starchild. I think that's what I heard, and he is just amazing. I love whoever the hell that is, because he just makes the other Avengers and everybody else look like junk. I mean, he or she, I think it's a she. Fill me in, please, Marvel fans, because Starchild was badass. But we do see that Jennifer is fighting her way out. She breaks out of the little the first trap that they have her in. They try and sonic disable her. They eventually do subdue her with whatever this guy's powers is. And they do subdue her. They are taking her away with Gorilla Man. There is, as you can see over here, there is some backstabbery-ish where, it looks like, what's his face? I can't remember. I always forget their names. I do know him as like URSA Major. It's the Bear. Because some of these guys I do know from the 90s. But there is some backstabbery stuff where he gets killed and the gorilla was like, no, that was supposed to be me, like in the deal that I made when I betrayed the Avengers, like that I was supposed to die. And the ninja guy, he's just like, nah, that's not going to happen right now, you're just going to have to deal with it. They do jump back to like present time, and they do show where we're going in the storyline, and they have she's in the Red Room, and this Red Room that they've constructed, and they have turned her into a Red Hulk. So not only is she super powerful, but now I guess she's assuming she might have the same powers as the Red Hulk. But it basically says the Red Room is the secret furnace where some of the world's greatest assassins and super killers have been forged, and now She-Hulk is the newest recruit as the Avengers race to rescue Jim Walters from the Russian Winter Guard. Is it too late to save She-Hulk from going red? But I really loved it for a first read back to the Avengers. It was really good. I advised picking it up. That Red She-Hulk was amazing. I'm really excited. I'm more a Red Hulk fan than I am regular Hulk. But last but not least, we got Dark Horse, Master of the Universe, Revelations, issue number 1. And I've heard mixed shebangs about it, but I'll tell you this, I liked it. I am a big He-Man fan. It was nice that I know every character in the book, including some of the shoot-off characters that we saw in the end. The art was really good. I did like the art. The first couple of pages I wasn't sold. I mean, of course, a full page, I was like, yeah, it's okay. I liked it, but what really sold me on the comic is when we got to see a lot more of the characters, and the art is a lot more defined. I really did like the art. The story overall is basically, it's a origin story on the sword, Grayskull Castle, King Grayskull, He-Man in general. As far as, a lot of people are concerned, she's on the cover, Miss Tila, but she's not really in the issue. And I think everybody's talking about the Netflix show, I know, but do you think the prequel would if we were about to see a whole show based on Tila, I think the prequel would be set up, in that fashion, and it's not. Tila is here in the beginning and at the very end, and that's it. It is pretty much just a He-Man story. We do get to see a lot of, because he goes back through time. The king has basically been poisoned by a being that is so powerful, and he exists in 2 different dimensions, and for some reason he shows up one day, poisons the king. That he is scared off by the sword because they find out that he has had an encounter with the sword before. So He-Man steps through a portal, which they show right here, to try and track down the secrets of, He-Man's sword. I don't remember if it has a name, but he goes back to King Grayskull, shown here, and the origins of Grayskull Mountain, the origins of the sword, the origins of the creature, where they met before. They do show this guy. I don't know if he's been shown before, but it is a demon where the king got one of the metal ore to make half of the sword. So that might be a first appearance on that side. Now they do go into the whole King Hiss, like that there is that whole like part of the story, and they show him a little bit over here. They show a lot of the, you know, because if you don't know, Hiss and his people were a big bad guy before Skeletor showed up. So I'm glad that Kevin Smith threw that in there. I would say that the only thing that I would say that was kind of a negative on the book, which honestly there were no negatives. It was a very good first issue. It was a fun read all the way through. There was no parts where it felt slow. The pacing was nice. Like it's based off those three kind of origins that I told you about. The sword, the Castle Grayskull, and Grayskull himself. You know, the hero that was He-Man. You know, and they're kind of defining the reason why Prince Adam and He-Man needs to stay separate. You know, that whole keeping your secret identity. But it's part of the origin story, what happens to one of Grayskull's sons. But they do show, I mean, overall the art was really good. This creature, it's a creature that most of us will be like, oh, I've kind of seen that. It looks like a beholder or has like a Cthulhu type look to it. But it's basically so powerful or whatever. And even here, because they show it later on, that they you know, the sorceress rebuilds the monster off of a tentacle that He-Man gets. And she's trying to communicate with it, maybe trying to get an antidote to save the king. And even when she's communicating with it, it's not really like it's a creature, like a monster, like they think of it as. It might be more afraid of it, you know, type thing. It doesn't want to be there. It's not really trying to hurt anybody. If it did hurt anybody, it was probably an accident type thing. But in the background, we do get to see what Skeletor's doing. It's like the last page of the comic. I'm not saying it's a spoiler, but it's just kind of like a continuation of the story of where the book's going. And it's just more along the lines of, you know, at the same time they were communicating with this beast or monster, and what was the sorceress, He-Man, Teela, Man-at-Arms, while they were talking to this creature, you know, Skeletor and Evil Lyn were in the background, and they're using some kind of like technology magic stuff where they're seeing the same stuff as they are, and he's actually learning a lot of the stuff that He-Man just found out, or ways to, you know, basically he's learning secrets on Castle Grayskull, which is a bad thing. But overall it was a great first issue. I'm really glad. I mean, it's not like they threw a whole bunch of new characters or anything. I think the only character that I'd recognize was that glowy skeleton thing, and he might be the guy that gave Skeletor his powers. I know they've shown him before, but I can't remember. I don't know. But these are the next 5 comics, and I got 10 more to go, guys. If you're ready any of those, let me know. Just like I took that suggestion from Mr. Cinnamon, which I loved. He caught me at the right time while I was reading. I got some other books coming. I got Batman, I got Spider-Man. You know, if y'all want me to read one first or review one first, let me know. Like, subscribe, hit that bell. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Nah.